The silent guardians awaken. The crimson sky of Kepler 442 bits burned with the light of dying ships. Captain Elena Martinez stood at the command center of Outpost Zephyr, watching as another transport vessel exploded in the distance. The Void Hunters had been systematically destroying everything in their path for 3 long years, and now only this single defense station remained between them and the complete extinction of the Zephyrian race. Martines pressed her palm against the cold metal of the observation window. Behind her, the command center buzzed with desperate activity. 50,000 refugees from 12 different species had crowded into the outpost's emergency shelters. The bird-like Zephyrians, with their magnificent golden feathers now dulled by fear and exhaustion, huddled together with their young. The crystalline Tethians sang their morning songs in harmonies that made even the bravest soldiers weep. Everyone knew this was the end. Captain, her communications officer, Lieutenant Sarah Kim, called out with a trembling voice. The Void Hunter Queen is broadcasting again. Martinez nodded grimly. Queen Scarex had been taunting them for weeks, her chittering insectoid voice promising death and destruction. The massive alien commanded a fleet of 800 warships, each one bristling with weapons that could tear through planetary defenses like paper. Her species had swept across 3 star systems, leaving nothing but empty worlds and scattered debris. The main screen flickered to life, showing the terrifying image of Queen Scarex. Her compound eyes reflected the light of burning worlds, and her razor-sharp mandibles clicked with anticipation. Pathetic creatures, she hissed in perfect galactic common. You cling to this metal shell while your worlds burn. Where are your human protectors now? Where is Earth's mighty fleet? Martinez felt her heart sink. For 6 months, there had been complete silence from Earth. Every human colony had gone dark, their distress signals unanswered. The few survivors scattered across the galaxy had begun to believe that humanity itself had been wiped out. Earth, the legendary birthplace of the species that had once seemed so powerful, had simply vanished from the galactic stage. Your time ends now, Queen Scarex continued. Surrender your refugees, and I will grant you a quick death. Resist, and I will feast on their terror before crushing this outpost into cosmic dust. Martinez cut the transmission and turned to face her crew. These weren't all humans. Her tactical officer was a brave Zephyrian named Kythera, whose people had fought alongside humans for decades. Her chief engineer was a massive Goliathan called Tor, whose species were known for their incredible strength and loyalty. They had all stayed when they could have fled, choosing to stand together in humanity's darkest hour. What are our options? Martines asked, though she already knew the answer. Chief Engineer Tor's deep voice rumbled through the command center. Shields are holding at 30%. Weapons systems are operating, but we have ammunition for maybe one more engagement. The enemy outnumbers us 400 to 1. Lieutenant Kim looked up from her console, her face pale. Captain, I've been monitoring all frequencies. There's still no response from Earth, Mars, or any of the core worlds. We're completely alone. Martinez walked slowly to the central command console, her mind racing. As captain of this outpost, she was responsible for the lives of everyone aboard. The weight of their trust pressed down on her shoulders like a mountain. She thought of the Zephyrian children in the shelters below, their large eyes filled with hope that the brave humans would somehow save them. She thought of the elderly Tethians who had lived through centuries of peace, only to face annihilation in their final years. Suddenly, her fingers paused over a section of the control panel she had never really noticed before. It was an old interface, built into the original outpost structure decades ago. The metal was worn smooth by countless hands, and the labels were written in an ancient Earth dialect she barely recognized. As she studied it more closely, she realized what she was looking at. Emergency Protocol Phantom, she read aloud. Activation requires Command Authority Level Alpha 7. Kythera turned from her tactical station, her golden feathers ruffling with curiosity. Captain, what is that? I have studied human military protocols for years, but I have never heard of anything called Phantom." Martinez frowned, accessing her command codes. As she dug deeper into the outpost's archives, she found references to something called the Silent Guardian Doctrine. The files were heavily encrypted and fragmented, but what she could read made her heart race with hope. "It's some kind of deep space emergency beacon," she explained, her voice growing stronger. "According to these files, it was installed in every major human outpost and colony ship, but the activation codes were classified at the highest levels." Lieutenant Kim leaned forward, studying the ancient interface. "Captain, some of these references date back to before the First Galactic War. This technology is older than our ship's computers." Tor's massive hands worked over the engineering console, running diagnostics on systems that had been dormant for decades. "The beacon is connected to our main power core. If we activate it, everyone in the system will know our position." "Everyone already knows our position," Martins replied. "The question is whether anyone who cares is listening." She thought about the legends she had heard as a child on Earth, stories of humanity's hidden strength, of secret fleets and silent guardians watching over human colonies from the shadows. Her grandmother had told her tales of ships that appeared when hope was lost, of battles won by forces that officially didn't exist. But those were just stories, weren't they? The command center shook as another wave of Void Hunter fighters screamed past their shields. Warning lights flashed red across every console. Time was running out. Martinez made her decision. Her hand moved to the activation switch, and she entered her command codes. "If Earth is still out there, if there's any chance that someone is listening, then we have to try." She pressed the activation button. The ancient beacon hummed to life with a sound unlike anything they had ever heard. It was deep and resonant, vibrating through the hull of the outpost and into the bones of everyone aboard. The lights dimmed as massive amounts of power flowed into the transmission array. On the main screen, they could see a pulse of energy racing out into space, carrying their desperate message to the stars. Far away, in a hidden facility beneath Earth's Pacific Ocean, Admiral James Chen sat in a command chair that few people knew existed. The underwater base called Sanctuary had been humanity's most closely guarded secret for over 50 years. Around him, tactical displays showed the positions of ships that appeared in no official records, vessels that the galaxy believed had been destroyed or decommissioned decades ago. When the Phantom beacon activated, every screen in Sanctuary flashed red. The message was simple but unmistakable. All hope lost. Request immediate assistance. Earth's children calling home. Admiral Chen was a man who had officially died in the Battle of Proxima Centauri 20 years ago. His funeral had been attended by thousands, and his grave on Earth was visited by admirers from across the galaxy. But James Chen had never died. He had simply been reassigned to humanity's most secret mission, commanding the Ghost Fleet. For decades, Earth had allowed the galaxy to believe that humanity was just another species, struggling to survive among the stars. They had let their colonies appear weak and isolated. Their fleets seemed small and outdated. But beneath the surface, in hidden shipyards and secret bases, humanity had been building something unprecedented. "Signal confirmed," reported Commander Lisa Park, Chen's second-in-command. Like most of the Ghost Fleet's crew, she was officially dead, killed in a battle that had been carefully staged to hide her true assignment. "The beacon is transmitting from the Kepler system. 50,000 refugees under attack by a Void Hunter fleet." Chen stood up, his weathered face showing the strain of maintaining humanity's greatest deception. Around him, 200 of Earth's most advanced warships powered up their engines. These vessels incorporated technology that was 50 years ahead of anything the galaxy had seen. Stealth systems that could hide entire fleets, weapons that could crack moons, shields that could withstand the fury of dying stars. "Activate all ships," Chen commanded. "Send the signal to every crew member. Operation Silent Guardian is now active." Across the hidden base, men and women who had sacrificed their very identities to protect humanity prepared for battle. They were pilots who had faked their deaths, engineers who had vanished from official records, soldiers who had chosen to become ghosts so that humanity could survive. Each one had given up their life in the ordinary world to become part of something greater. The massive hangar doors opened, revealing the black depths of Earth's ocean. One by one, the ships of the Ghost Fleet rose from their hidden berths, their hulls gleaming with technology that defied every known law of physics. They moved through the water as easily as through space, their advanced systems making the ocean itself seem like empty void. Captain Elena Martinez sat in her command chair, watching the stars and hoping against hope that someone had heard their cry for help. The Void Hunter fleet was moving into attack formation, their weapons charging for the final assault. Queen Scarex's mocking laughter echoed through the communications channels. Then Lieutenant Kim's voice cut through the despair. "Captain, I'm detecting massive energy signatures approaching our position. Multiple contacts, moving at impossible speeds." Martinez leaned forward, her heart pounding. "Can you identify them?" "Negative, Captain. The signature patterns don't match any known ship designs in our database, but they're coming from the direction of Earth." On the main screen, space itself seemed to ripple and bend. Then, in a flash of brilliant light, 200 ships materialized out of hyperspace. They moved in perfect formation, their hulls reflecting the light of distant stars. These were not the battered, outdated vessels that the galaxy expected from humanity. These were ships that looked like they had been forged from starlight and dreams. Admiral Chen's voice filled the command center, strong and clear. "Outpost Zephyr, this is Admiral James Chen of the Earth Ghost Fleet. We received your signal. Hold your position. The cavalry has arrived." When legends become reality, Queen Scarex stared at her tactical displays in disbelief. The massive insectoid commander had conquered 3 star systems and destroyed countless fleets, but she had never seen anything like the ships that now surrounded Kepler 442 bits. Her compound eyes studied the sensor readings again and again, but the data made no sense. "Impossible," she chittered to her bridge crew. "These ship designs do not exist in any database. How can humans possess such technology?" Her chief tactical officer, a scared veteran named Thrak, manipulated the holographic display with his razor-sharp claws. "My queen, our sensors cannot penetrate their hull composition. These vessels appear to be constructed from materials we have never encountered." Queen Scarex had built her reputation on knowing her enemies. The Void Hunters were master strategists who studied every species they conquered, learning their weaknesses and exploiting their fears. She had detailed files on human military capabilities, and nothing in those records suggested they possessed anything like the fleet now opposing her. "Send a probe," she commanded. "I want to know what we are facing." On the bridge of the flagship Earthbound, Admiral Chen watched the Void Hunter probe approach with calm determination. Around him, his crew worked with the efficiency that came from decades of secret training. These were humanity's finest, handpicked from among the best of the best, and trained in technologies that the galaxy couldn't imagine. "Incoming probe, Admiral," reported Commander Park. "Standard Void Hunter reconnaissance pattern." Chen nodded. "Let them look. It's time the galaxy learned what humanity has been building in the shadows." The probe's sensors swept across the Ghost Fleet, recording data that would shock the Void Hunter command. The human ships were not just advanced, they were revolutionary. Hull materials that could regenerate damage, engines that bent space-time itself, weapons that drew power directly from quantum fluctuations in the vacuum of space. Captain Martinez watched from her outpost as the 2 fleets faced each other across the void. The contrast was striking. The organic, insectoid curves of the Void Hunter ships against the sleek, angular lines of the human vessels. But what amazed her most was the communication channel that Admiral Chen had opened to her personally. "Captain Martinez." Chen's voice was warm despite the tense situation. "I want you to know that Earth has been watching. We've been protecting human colonies for decades, but we've had to do it in secret. The galaxy wasn't ready to know humanity's true capabilities. Martinez felt tears in her eyes. "Admiral, we thought we were abandoned. The colonies went silent, and no one answered our distress calls." "Those colonies are safe, Captain. We evacuated them to hidden locations when the Void Hunter threat became clear. Every human life is precious to us. That's why we built the Ghost Fleet, to ensure that no human would ever truly be alone in the darkness." On Queen Scarex's flagship, the probe data was causing panic among her bridge crew. The numbers didn't make sense. The human ships showed energy readings that should have been impossible with known technology. Their weapon systems alone carried more firepower than her entire fleet. "My queen," Thrak reported, his voice trembling. "The probe's analysis suggests that each human vessel carries enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Their shield generators are operating on principles our scientists do not understand." Queen Scarex felt fear creeping into her mind for the first time in decades. She had conquered entire civilizations, but she had never faced an enemy whose capabilities were completely unknown. The humans had somehow hidden their true strength for generations, appearing weak while building power beyond imagination. "Open a channel to their flagship," she commanded. "I will speak with their leader." Admiral Chen accepted the communication, his weathered face appearing on Queen Scarex's main screen. The two commanders studied each other across the Void Predator meeting protector. "I am Queen Scarex of the Void Hunters," she announced. "Your species has hidden well, human, but you cannot hide from the inevitable. My fleet has destroyed worlds. We will add your ships to our collection of victories." Chen's expression remained calm. "Your Majesty, I am Admiral James Chen of Earth's Ghost Fleet. You have threatened refugees under our protection. You have attacked our allies. This ends now." "You command only 200 ships," Queen Scarex hissed. "I have 800 vessels at my disposal. The mathematics of destruction favor me." "Mathematics," Chen replied quietly, "have never been humanity's strongest suit. We prefer to rely on ingenuity, determination, and the absolute refusal to abandon those who trust us." The battle began with a single shot from Queen Scarex's flagship. A massive plasma bolt raced across space toward the Earthbound, carrying enough energy to vaporize a city. But the shot never reached its target. Instead, it struck an energy barrier that appeared out of nowhere, dissipating harmlessly into swirls of light. Chen's voice carried across all frequencies. "Ghost Fleet, this is Admiral Chen. Operation Silent Guardian is now active. Show them what humanity has been building." The human ships moved with coordination that seemed impossible. They flowed through space like schools of fish, their formations shifting and adapting with fluid grace. When they fired, their weapons created effects that defied conventional physics. Beams of coherent energy that passed through shields as if they didn't exist. Missiles that phased in and out of normal space, striking targets from impossible angles. Captain Martinez watched in amazement as the tide of battle turned within minutes. The Void Hunter fleet, which had seemed invincible, was being systematically dismantled by forces they couldn't understand or counter. Queen Scarex's 800 ships found themselves outmaneuvered, outgunned, and completely outclassed. "Impossible!" Queen Scarex screamed as her tactical displays showed ship after ship falling to the human assault. "No species possesses such power. What are you?" Admiral Chen's reply came through the chaos of battle. "We are humanity, Your Majesty. We are the species that refuses to surrender. We are the guardians who watch over our own from the shadows. And we are the force that stands between predators like you and the innocent beings you would destroy." The human weapons reached a crescendo of destruction. The Earthbound's main cannon, a device that channeled the fury of stellar cores, fired a single shot that pierced through Queen Scarex's flagship. The massive Void Hunter vessel, which had terrorized 3 star systems, cracked like an egg and exploded into cosmic dust. In her final moments, Queen Scarex transmitted one last message across all channels. Her voice, filled with pain and disbelief, carried a warning that would echo across the galaxy. Beware the humans. They are not what they seem. Behind their masks of weakness lies power beyond imagination. We came to hunt them, but we were the prey all along. The battle ended as suddenly as it had begun. Of Queen Scarex's 800 ships, less than 200 remained, and those were fleeing at maximum speed toward distant galaxies. The Void Hunter threat to this region of space was over, broken by forces they had never imagined existed. Admiral Chen opened a channel to the outpost. Captain Martinez, this is Admiral Chen. The immediate threat has been neutralized. We're sending medical ships to assist with the refugees. Martinez felt overwhelming relief wash over her. Around the command center, her crew was cheering and embracing. The Zephyrian children in the shelters below would live to see another sunrise. The elderly Tethians would have time to sing their songs of joy instead of mourning. Admiral, Martine said, her voice thick with emotion, I don't know how to thank you. No thanks necessary, Captain. This is what we do. This is why the Ghost Fleet exists. Humanity protects its own, and we consider every being who stands with us to be part of our family. Over the following days, as the refugees were evacuated to safe worlds and the damage was repaired, Martines learned the truth about humanity's secret strength. For generations, Earth had maintained a careful facade of being just another struggling species among the stars. They had allowed their colonies to appear vulnerable, their fleets to seem small and outdated. But beneath the surface, humanity had been building something unprecedented. The Ghost Fleet was only part of it. There were hidden research stations developing technologies decades ahead of galactic standards. Secret colonies where human refugees from across the galaxy were given new lives and new hope. A vast network of silent guardians watching over human interests throughout known space. Why keep it secret? Martines asked during one of her conversations with Admiral Chen. Because the galaxy wasn't ready, Chen replied. If other species knew humanity's true capabilities, they would either try to destroy us out of fear, or they would become dependent on us for protection. Neither outcome would be healthy for galactic civilization. And now, Chen smiled. Now the secret is out. The Void Hunter survivors will spread word of what they saw here. Other species will learn that humanity is not to be underestimated. But more importantly, they'll learn that we use our power to protect, not to conquer. Captain Martinez was promoted to Admiral and given command of the new human-Zephyrian combined fleet. The Ghost Fleet became the backbone of a new galactic alliance, one built on mutual respect rather than fear. Species that had been terrorized by predators, like the Void Hunters, found new hope in humanity's protection. The refugees from Outpost Zephyr were relocated to beautiful worlds where they could rebuild their lives. The Zephyrian children grew up knowing that the stars held friends as well as dangers. The elderly Tethians lived to sing songs of victory and hope. And somewhere in the depths of space, Admiral Chen and his Ghost Fleet continued their eternal vigil. They were the silent guardians, the watchers in the darkness, the force that ensured no human, and no ally of humanity, would ever face the void alone. The galaxy had learned a new truth. Humanity's greatest strength was not in their weapons or their technology, but in their absolute refusal to abandon those who trusted them. They were a species that turned legends into reality, and in doing so, they had become legends themselves. In the end, Queen Scarex had been right about one thing. Humanity was not what they seemed. They were so much more.